Record. Hey, Bill.
Hey,
Hey, good to see you.
likewise.
So, today's an exciting day for us. We enter the quantum realm classes today. And so, I thought it would be fun for us to just chat a little bit about what it is, but about the whole quantum realm idea and what we're doing in this class that's so exciting.
Yeah, I think it's terribly exciting, and some of the exciting things to me about it are the kind of start with the question is what if you could reach out and touch something in the quantum realm? So the thoughts and feelings that you have been harboring for a long time. You may have, had a want, right? Maybe it's I want my perfect partner, or maybe it's a particular car or a house, or maybe it's something else that is not so physical. Um, this concept, uh, actually bringing it to life, where you actually get to experience it in this quantum realm that is around you in your field. So um, I, I'd love to hear your take on this, Liz.
Well, I mean, this is kind of funny because people who come to our classes, they don't see these conversations that go on behind the scenes with you and me and how weird we really are, right? And that is, I think, the basis of so much of what we do is that whole what if. That what if this were not what we thought it was, or what if we could change the perspective? And really, that's what we did with this class, right? Is
Yes.
that what if we could reach out and touch it, and we tried, and you can. And so I think that's the thing that geeks me out the most about this, is that it brings it into reality. It's not just a concept, the field out there somewhere. It's like right here, right in our space, and we can touch it. And those things that we want, that I think for a lot of us, we find it's equal parts wanting it and equal parts not having it. And that's why it doesn't come into our space. We kind of know that, right? You talk about it in the map of awareness, that it's thwarted wanting, thwarted wanting. You want it, but it's like we're doing this all the time. But we discovered that the field is oh so real, and that right in our field, you can reach out and feel it. And that's what's so thrilling to me about this. And I love everything. Well, you know how I think, Bill. I want proof. I believe in everything. And I'm also the biggest skeptic you'll ever meet, right? I got to try it out. If I can make it real in my own experience, then it's real. And that's what happened, I think, with this. And so that realness, that tangibility is what's super exciting for me.
Yeah. So, me too, because as everybody has always heard probably 100 times if you've been watching my videos, for me is it'll never be real for you until it's real in your experience. So when you actually have had the experience, then yeah, that's real. So one of the things I loved about this is that it was so tangible, and that the feeling in your body of this, different people experience different things during this quantum, um, and that is it, as I experience, it's kind of like a wobble effect. You're there doing this exercise, and you have this thing that you've wanted and desired forever, and you connect with it in your field, and it is like it's you start to get this like a vibration, or like interdimensional, like reality is kind of starting to shift, and it is, I don't know how to describe it, kind of jello-y, kind of roar. But it's an amazing experience. But you know, a kind of a so what, right? If you're into results, you know, kind of okay, you're just having a sensation. And that's interesting that you're having a sensation. And it's interesting that everybody's kind of getting the sensation. But what is more interesting than all that is what the heck afterwards? Okay, you had a sensation, you had an interesting thing happen. What happened after the fact? So, and maybe you could tell some of the stories, Liz, about what are the things you witnessed. I'll tell my story of my own personal life and what I witnessed.
Well, I just want to say, piggybacking on that wah, wah, wah feeling, I think that's why we probably named it Enter the Quantum Realm, Cogno Quantum, but Enter the Quantum Realm, because you literally step into it. We were talking about earlier too, this idea that we talk about dimensions and we talk about the field and it feels like it's out there somewhere often. But what we found is it isn't. You can walk right into the dimension or timeline and you can literally feel it. And that's that wah, wah, wah feeling, right? And I don't know how to describe it either, but it feels incredible. I think so. Anyway, so much fun. And when you actually realize you can touch the edge of that timeline or that reality that you want, it becomes no longer out there somewhere or just some weird idea. And the manifesting game, like you're trying to rope it in, none of that. You realize, oh, it actually exists in my field and I'm just pulling it into my body. So I noticed in my own experience, and of course, for me, I'm always experimenting, right? That's one thing people don't know about me is I'm a mad scientist experimenter. I don't experiment on myself or anybody who's a willing victim. And we started playing with this, and I started playing with myself. I realized that I was thinking of these things that I wanted as somewhere else, like off in the distance, not in my reality. So the first thing it did in my experience was bring it right into right now. And I realized I could see down that timeline as far as I wanted to go. Like what happens after that event that seems like the end all be all. So what I noticed is that I became very almost neutral about the experience. Like it just is now. And all the little things that start to come into my life. And I think this is the big one for me, Bill, is that what we want is whammo, it's right here in our face. But in my experience, in a lot of the stories we're going to share, it's not that. It's that you literally step onto the timeline that leads you directly to that place. And you start to see the glimpses and the little pieces of that reality more and bigger. And in my experience, it's better than I ever expected, right? I couldn't quite see those little pieces that would get me there that are so joyful. So I know yours is interesting too. So tell us about what you experienced physically and
Yeah. So mine, I had a methodology to the way that I would manifest in the past, and I could manifest some stuff. I manifested 2 helicopters, a beach house, a yacht. I manifested a lot of different things in the physical realm, and a lot of other things. But my manifesting was done in a certain way, and that was I would set my target and then I would focus on it and I would not let it up. I would I would think about it. I would think about it all day, every day. I would really put all of my attention on it. And um, that is one way of doing things. Uh, and it certainly makes things happen in the third dimension. You will get there.
so true.
Uh, there is another way though, and the process, if you will, that works in the third dimension, and the third dimension is has certain thoughts and feelings associated with it. The first overall for the third dimension is conditional love, right? Everything's a condition. There's laws, rules, regulations, separation. Uh, the typical feelings in the third dimension range anywhere from shame and humiliation to anger and fear, craving, or inflationary pride type feelings. These are the best case scenarios in the third dimension. Now, shifting into the fourth dimension, you go from that to gratitude and being gracious and kind, and your service goes from service to self to service to others. So in this dimension, what works for manifesting in the third doesn't work in the fourth. So the interesting thing in the fourth here is when I did this process, the thing that I was out there trying to make happen, right, I ended up accessing it, and I had that feeling. And one of the things that we do in the class is to bring that out of the field and into your heart. And it's a physical process that we basically have discovered on how to do it. And you can actually, for me, there was an actually feeling it. And then after the fact, the most strange thing I've ever experienced related to manifesting, because all of my life, I've made things happen through the exact same methodology, that focus, determination, unrelenting type of way. And all of a sudden, it was like the thing that I had out there in the field is like, poof, gone. It was absent. It's like, where is it? It just kind of went out of my consciousness. I can access it in my heart, but it's not where I'm used to looking for it. I'm subconsciously, I'm looking for it out in the field. And so consequently, it was like, it's just gone. It's like almost like I don't care. But when I kind of look for it here, it's right here in my heart. Anyway, very interesting because many things dynamically shifted all in the process. So anyway, it was fun. I'm just going to say it was fun, and it's a fun class to learn, and it really shifts things. It shifted for me.
I think that's a really important point, is that, first of all, what everybody needs to understand is every potential is around us all the time. It's potentiality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the third dimension, and I'll tell you, I have manifested some huge things in the third dimension as well. I like to call it by force. We both love David Hawkins' work, Power versus Force. And I manifested some things by force that were big. And in the end, they didn't turn out that well, right? They
Mm-hmm.
just weren't that joyful. And with this work we're doing now, Cogno Movement included, Cogno Movement is about really what's the potential of our full body, our full mind, our full nervous system, operating on full resources, right? We know for sure that what our physical body feels projects into the universe, that thinking stuff, right? That Napoleon Hill talks about, and reflects back whatever we feel. So if we're feeling these things we want to manifest by force, we're wanting them, like you talked about, it's like we're wrestling them to the ground by the constant laser focus. Yeah. There's not this heart opening joy. And with this quantum realm class, there's a bit of ecstasy. You feel quite ecstatic as you feel the real timeline potential in your own field. Like with your hand, we touch it, right?
Mhm.
Then it appears that what it does is open these joyful expansion of this
Mhm.
thing that we want. And then we get to experience not just the thing in its full glory, but all the little really exciting, juicy pieces that get us there. So, for example, one of our, one of the people who's been with us a long time, who, experiments with us a lot too, she had a love experience, someone that is kind of the love of her life, but it didn't quite happen. And what she discovered was that instantly she stopped suffering over it. The suffering part was gone. And the person just was in her being, in her space, and interacting with them, but not on the level that she had before wanted. Now it was just okay for him to be what he was in her experience. And what's interesting is that person is now more in her experience, showing up physically in her experience as well. And then other expansions on, I guess I can say the idea of that person have opened for her. Whammo, was he delivered onto her doorstep? No, that's not it. But this joyful expansion of that relationship for all that it is has expanded. So to me, that is so beautiful. And it's not the idea we usually have of manifesting. We don't think about the little joyful pieces. The other thing that we're doing with people is taking them beyond it. What
Mhm.
happens after, right? That's something we never think about, but it's right there in that potentiality and on the timeline. So,
Well, I got to throw this out. Wait a second. Now, actually, he did show up on her doorstep.
well, no, he really did. You're right
Yeah,
about that. He
he
did.
did
Yes,
show
he
up
did.
on her doorstep.
You're right. He did. That's true. That's true. Not necessarily in the way she might have originally anticipated, or maybe it was, but yes, he did show up on the doorstep. So we've had people using it for business. I mean, and everybody should know that you and I, we take our own medicine. We have used this and all other cognitive things for business and expansion and to help us think about things in a whole new perspective. And what's happened is we thought about things in a whole new perspective. We have ideas that just weren't there before. What seemed impossible is now totally possible. And I think that's the real key to this entering the quantum realm class is what was impossible before starts to become more and more possible, but more and more joyful as
Yes.
well. That
Yeah.
wanting that you talk about in the map of awareness, gone.
Yes.
And this joyful heart opening replaces it.
Yes. It's a strange thing.
It is strange, but so fun and magical. And I think so, I mean, thanks you guys for being part of this conversation with me and Bill, kind of seeing how we toss things around. But the truth is, we couldn't be more excited about it for ourselves and for everybody who experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you happen to be watching this video on October 6, 2020, we are having a quantum realm class today. If you're watching it and it's not October 6, 2020, look on our class schedule at cognomovement.com. We have them pretty often because, I mean, we just like teaching them.
It's fun.
And, Bill, I think the truth is too that each person who gets to experience this and learn how to do it for themselves, that's it. You don't have to have us. Once you learn how to do it, you could do it for yourself. I think we create more for the planet and more on the joyful expansion for everybody who experiences it.
Right. Yes.
That's
True.
what's important.
That's true.
All right,
Thanks,
my
Lynn.
friend. I'll see you tonight at 4. Everybody else, we'll see you at 4 tonight or some other time in the quantum realm. We'll talk soon. This is Liz Larson, Bill McKenna, the founder of Cognomovement.com. And I'm with the Cogno Movement team myself. Cognomovement.com/upcoming events. All kinds of great information there. So we'll talk again soon, Bill, right?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bye.